Good morning, and thank you for attending today. To those here in person and those watching live on ESPN+, I'm Kirk Sampson, Senior Associate Athletics Director at Auburn University and the moderator for today's award dinner press conference. It is a pleasure to be here for the National Football Foundation's 65th Annual Awards Dinner presentation by Las Vegas. As a brief outline for this morning's schedule, first we'll hear from NFF President and CEO Steve Hatchell and Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority CEO President Steve Hill. Then we'll announce the 2023 MEAC Players of the Year and conclude with meeting the members of the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame class. The NFF would like to thank all of its partners and sponsors for their support, especially the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, the presenting sponsor for tonight's annual awards dinner. We also want to recognize Sinclair Broadcasting Group's local affiliate, KSNV News 3, for their efforts this morning. Please be reminded that the media are welcome to use the interview room next door in Bristol Cone 7, which is open all day today until midnight. It is also available for breakout sessions following the press conference. Clips and photos from this morning's press conference will be uploaded to the NFF Media Central page on the Foundation's website, footballfoundation.org. Videos and photos from tonight's annual awards dinner will also be added. It's now my honor to introduce National Football Foundation President and CEO Steve Hatchell. For the past 4 decades, Steve has been the forefront of collegiate athletics, holding several prominent positions, including Commissioner of the Big 12, Executive Director of the Orange Bowl. Since 2005, he has headed the National Football Foundation, expanding its reach and impact while promoting and protecting the game. Steve? Push the green button, please. Thank you, Steve.
I got it. Good morning, everybody, and excuse me. That introduction, Kirk just set it off. Well, it's nice to have all of you here, and we're very, very excited to welcome the entire college football community to the 65th Annual NFF Awards Dinner, and it's just great to have you with us. I'd like to start by congratulating the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame class. It's just a marvelous class, as it is every year, and we're so thrilled to be here with them, and it's a culmination of a year of opportunity to be with these wonderful people. The official induction is always a special moment for the game, and we look forward to hearing from all of our Hall of Famers shortly. I'd like to congratulate tonight's award recipients. First, Bill Hancock, the College Football Playoff Executive Director, BYU Athletic Director Tom Homo, and the voice of HBCU football, Charlie Neal. We're also giving some awards to people that have contributed so much to football. It gives us an opportunity to pat them on the back. It's our small way of saying thank you for all that you've done. That includes the Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association, Todd Berry, CEO, MFW Advisors, and founder of the Campbell Trophy Summit that we have every year. His name is Mark Flynn, played football himself, and chairman of the Atlanta Hall Management, the group that oversees our Hall of Fame in Atlanta, A.J. Robinson, who is stepping back from his leadership, and it's a chance for us to thank him for all that he's done. I want to thank all of the media that's in attendance here today and those watching on ESPN+. The work that we do helps to ensure the future of the sport, and we appreciate the opportunity that all of you are here to put a light on the positive aspects of what we do and the positive aspects of football. The NFF's commitment to education, highlighted by our academic recognition programs, has been at the bedrock of our organization since its founding 76 years ago. We feel like we are caretakers of that history and that legacy. This is why we launched an education committee co-chaired by Hall of Famer and NFF board member Ronnie Lott, and the other chairman is retired four-star Admiral Bill McRaven, who, when he was done with SEAL Team, then became chancellor at the University of Texas, and we now have access to Bill with his great leadership opportunities and the importance of education. As many of you know, we take a great pride in our NFF National Scholar Athlete Awards presented by Fidelity Investments. And tonight we welcome 16 new members of this elite fraternity, while awarding them $300,000 in postgraduate scholarships. One of them will be chosen as the recipient of the Campbell Trophy as the top scholar athlete in college football. And when you have a chance, you're going to hear from them shortly, you're going to say the sport is really doing well. If these people are part of football and we get a chance to salute them as great scholars, as great football players and leaders, you know things are happening right in football. A lot of issues right now, but these are wonderful young men. I want to thank Fidelity Investments for their commitment to higher education and longtime support of the NFF Scholar Athlete and Faculty Salute programs. Keep in mind, for a scholar athlete to get here, he has to have the support of a lot of people at his universities. There are 772 colleges and universities that play college football, and their goal is to make sure that their kids graduate. With Fidelity's help, we're able to put a lot of wind in the sails and recognize the best and the best. Tonight marks the third year that college football's most important event has taken place in Las Vegas. We could not be more pleased with how supportive the community has been. MGM Resorts, led by Daniel Rush, embraced us immediately and understood that this event would mean a lot to Las Vegas and great as our host. Aria Resort and Casinos, led by President and CEO Steve Zanella, has been nothing short of awesome, and we're delighted to be back. Of course, the NFF is deeply indebted to the awards dinner's presenting sponsor, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, and their president, Steve Hill. He and his team are the best in the business, and we are proud to call them partner and a friend. Just think about this. The person sitting next to me, in 1 year, all 3 of the years that we've been here. We are so pleased to announce that the partnership with LVCVA and MGM's Bellagio Resort and Casino, the NFF's annual awards dinner, will be returning to Las Vegas in 2024 and 25. On behalf of our chairman, Archie Manning, it's not as good as Formula One, but yeah. On behalf of our chairman, Archie Manning, and our board of directors, several of whom are here today, we want to say thank you to all of you being here. We're delighted that you would be here to celebrate this great showpiece for college football, and to thank our friend Steve Hill for what he and Las Vegas do to make this a great event. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks. Those are very kind words. I often say I have the easiest product in the world to sell. I think that is true. Las Vegas sells itself, and there's a lot of work behind the scenes that makes that happen, and you mentioned some of those. I want to thank MGM Resorts and the staff here at Aria for making this easy for us, and I think for you as well. And the announcement that you'll be back for a couple of years seems to just reinforce that. So we're thrilled with our partnership. I want to thank Steve, I want to thank Matthew and the entire team at the National Football Foundation for your partnership and your friendship. It's been seamless for these 3 years, and we look forward to continuing that for a long time. Also want to congratulate the reason we're here. Congratulate the new inductees of the 2023 class, and welcome back all of the Hall of Fame members to Las Vegas, and all of you. Welcome to Las Vegas. We're thrilled you're here. As I said, Vegas sells itself, and we have sold ourselves recently, and we think this is true as the sports and entertainment capital of the world. I want to thank the National Football Foundation for helping to be a part of making that true. It matters for us that you're here. It is not only a fantastic event and a lot of fun and a celebration of what is great about college football, but it means something to Las Vegas that you have chosen to be here, and we do not take that for granted. So thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both, Steve and Steve. We will unveil the MEAC Players of the Year here shortly. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Thanks again. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm great. How are you? Good to see you.
Yep, we're gonna go ahead and get going. All right. It is now my honor to introduce Sonia Stills to announce the 2023 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Players of the Year. Sonia took over as commissioner of the MEAC in January 2022, becoming the first female commissioner in the conference's history. She has been a member of the MEAC staff since 2002. Commissioner Stills?
Good morning. Again, I am Sonia Stills, Commissioner of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and I bring you greetings from the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Council of Presidents and Chancellors of our Elite 8 member institutions and the entire MEAC nation. I want to thank the National Football Foundation President and Chief Executive Officer Steve Hatchell, Chief Operating Officer Matthew Sine, and the College Football Hall of Fame for their partnership with the MEAC in recognizing our talented student athletes for a 7th year. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment and recognize a few of our supporters in attendance this morning. From Howard University and representing Director of Athletics Carrie Davis is Senior Women Administrator Siobhan Mansfield, along with Head Coach Larry Scott. From North Carolina Central University and representing Director of Athletics, Dr. Lewis Skip Perkins, is Senior Woman Administrator, Dr. Kendra Green, along with Offensive Coordinator and Quarterbacks Coach Matt Leon, representing North Carolina Central's Head Coach Trey Oliver. Also in attendance today are family members of today's honorees and additional MEAC representatives, including former MEAC Commissioner, Dr. Dennis E. Thomas. Today is another momentous moment in MEAC football history. The MEAC, founded in 1970, has seen 12 former football players be enshrined in the NFL Hall of Fame, and we are honored to be a part of today's awards ceremony. And I now will get to, at this moment, get to where we've all been waiting for, is the 2023 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year. The MEAC Offensive Player of the Year is Davius Richard, quarterback from North Carolina Central University. Richard is a 6'3", 220-pound senior from Belgrave, Florida. I think something wrong with that weight? No, it's good? Okay. After sitting next to me just 1 year ago, Davius is returning as the reigning MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. Davius finished the 2023 season with a conference-best 2,177 passing yards and 21 touchdown passes. He connected on 166 of 273 passes in 11 games of play and finished with a school record completion percentage of 60.8%. He also led the Eagles in rushing touchdowns with 18, breaking the school's single-season record. Mr. Richard is a 5-time MEAC Offensive Player of the Week in 2023 and leaves North Carolina Central as the record holder in total offensive yards with 11,017 and is second all-time in career passing yards with 8,991 yards. For the 2023 FCS season, he leads the NCAA in points responsible for and is tied for first in rushing touchdowns. He also ranks among the NCAA's top 25 in passing touchdowns, passing efficiencies, and scoring. A scholar athlete off the field, Davius will also be recognized later today as a finalist for the 2023 Walter V. Campbell Trophy. As a finalist, Davius will receive, yes, please. As a finalist, Davius will receive an $18,000 postgraduate scholarship as a member of the 2023 NFF National Scholar Athlete class presented by Fidelity Investments. Once again, I am pleased to recognize the 2023 MEAC Offensive Player of the Year, Mr. Davius Richard of North Carolina Central University. See if your weight class is okay with you. Okay. All right. So the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year is Kenny Gallup Jr. Defensive back from Howard University, Gallup Jr. is 6'1", 214-pound senior from Portsmouth, Virginia. Kenny Gallup Jr. earned the MEAC's Defensive Player of the Year honor following a season that saw him accumulate 61 total tackles, including 40 solo stops. He forced 2 fumbles, recorded 3 interceptions, 2 quarterback hurries, and 3 breakups en route to leading the Bison to the conference title. Mr. Gallup Jr. was named the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year twice this season. He totals 244 total tackles with 155 solo tackles. He recorded a career-best 16 tackles against Harvard and a 2023 season-best 11 tackles against Norfolk State. Gallup has 1 game remaining this season as he will also compete in the Cricket Celebration Bowl on Saturday, December 16th in Atlanta, Georgia. The MEAC Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Kenny Gallup Jr. of Howard University.
Gentlemen, congratulations to you both. A couple quick questions for each of you. Davius, what does this mean to you to repeat as the MEAC Offensive Player of the Year?
It serves as just another checkpoint along my career. As far as the hard work that me and my teammates put in, the dedication that my coaching staff put in as far as game plan to make sure that we were in the right situations at the right time. And then just the support that we had from the support staff, whether it was the medical team with helping with rehab or injuries or the academic team, making sure we're on point with grades and stuff like that. So it just serves as just another blessing as far as my career here at Central.
Thank you. Kenny, what does it mean to you to be named a Defensive Player of the Year in the MEAC?
Well, first and foremost, it's a blessing. It's a blessing from God. Without him, I wouldn't be here today. But it means everything. You know, beginning of the season, you know, I write down my goals and I look at it every day. It be on, it's my screensaver on my iPhone. And, you know, I just push to be the best. My coaches push me, you know, they hold me accountable. My teammates, they hold me accountable. And, you know, it's just a blessing to bring it back home to Howard.
Thank you. Congratulations again to Davius and Kenny on your outstanding seasons. And Kenny, good luck against Florida A&M in the Celebration Bowl. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll continue with the 2023 College Hall of Fame class here shortly.
Way to work.
Kirk, you're not gonna need 4 waters, are you? Yeah, you think you need two?
So front row, just they're in order.
Rick
So
from
Mark
here.
Rick, Roy Kramer, so Terrence Mathis should be
The last one. Should we start?
If you need to move over the mics or the watches a little bit, that's fine.
You're good.
You're right here?
Yeah, I'm gonna help you slide in.
I
Go
got
back
you.
just a tad more.
Okay.
Just bring it to my knees the best you can.
There we go. Good? You good?
Well, and then if it's possible to slide me in, it's kind of a rough, dead weight.
That's strength right there.
I guess that'll work. I
Okay,
feel like
need-
let's go up a little bit more.
Move more.
If you don't mind.
Tell me when.
A little more. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
No, they'll have to push.
Feel
they
low,
hit
but that's
push. You have to push.
You just have to.
Yep.
No,
Oh.
he'll have to.
Are you sure? Because they were testing it.
Hello. Hello. Is it live?
It's live. It's live.
Okay.
I believe these two they could not turn on, so just wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. You'll have the same chair at the dinner.
Hall of Famers, if you want to take your place at the dais, we'll get started briefly.
I'm gonna try and find one.
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
What's that? First name? Hey, Kurt. How you doing? That's his name. That's a good battle. Yeah, he is that. Yes, sir, thank you. Okay. Okay, I'll take a nap. Just wake me up.
Thank you. Congratulations to you, man. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Hey.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
Yes,
Congratulations.
how's everything going?
Doing good. Good morning. How you doing? Doing great.
Just seeing you. Congratulations. Mark, how you doing, Reggie Bush? Great to see you. It's great to see you. Nice to meet you too. How you doing?
Very good.
Good to see you.
That's what I heard. I got it straight away. Oh, look at that.
Congratulations.
We'll get started in 2 minutes. All right, good morning again. Before we hear from the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame class, I want to welcome back National Football Foundation President and CEO Steve Hatchell for a special presentation to the class. Steve?
Thank you, Kirk. So all of you wonderful people, we gave you a little gift in front, and we hope that when you look at this watch, that you'll know how much we appreciate you, your contributions to the game. You make the College Football Hall of Fame better by you being in it. So we are thrilled to get you here. And on behalf of our board, Chairman Archie Manning, this watch is a small token of us to say thank you. And keep in mind, college football is well in the 152nd year, and the places that you are seated and the space that you represent started in the 50s, the 1950s. And of the 6 million people that played college football, very few were in the Hall of Fame. So we're honored to have you here. We're honored to have you tonight at this banquet, and we hope that you would always reflect on the fact that you made football better. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And now it's time to hear from our esteemed 2023 College Football Hall of Fame class. I want to outline that after hearing from each inductee a couple of questions as a group, there will be an opportunity for breakout interviews either in the back of the room or in the interview room next door. Of the nearly 6 million people that have played college football since the first game in 1969, only 1,074 players and 230 coaches have been inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, or less than 0.02%. Those numbers include the 2023 class, which will officially be inducted tonight during the 65th NFF Annual Awards Dinner presented by Las Vegas. Before we hear from the class, we'd like to give a quick thanks to all the communications and sports information directors around the country who play such a critical role in today's event. Your efforts are truly appreciated. And now we'll begin with our inductees. Up first, a defensive back at Tennessee from 2007 to 2009, Eric Berry. He was a two-time unanimous first-team All-American and winner of the 2009 Thorpe Award. Congratulations. Eric, in the business you were referred to as a ball hawk, having recorded 14 interceptions and 31 defended passes in your career. What was the secret to getting to the ball, or was it mostly instincts? If you want to hit the green button to answer.
I would just say it's a passion for the game, and I think that's what is the common thread throughout all of us up here today, is that we just love the game. And speaking for myself, just being out there on the field, giving the best effort that I had, and I think the main goal in football is to get the ball, score with it, and keep the opposition from scoring. But I just think it starts with a deep desire and a deep passion to go out there and do your best. So that's what it was.
Being a volunteer was a family affair, with your father and two younger brothers also playing at Tennessee. What does that legacy mean to you?
It definitely means a lot to me, just to follow in my father's footsteps and then have my younger brothers come in and carry on the tradition and the legacy. Being up here and being honored to represent not only my university, but my hometown and my family. And I think that we do a great job at doing that, and having a great example of the former players that came through, especially like Al Wilson, as well as Peyton Manning. You know, those are the two guys that really set the standard to how you perform at Tennessee. But legacy is everything.
Thank you. Hall of Famer Eric Berry. In 1998 consensus first-team All-American, winner of the Davey O'Brien Award and the Heisman Trophy runner-up, Michael Bishop was a quarterback at Kansas State from 1997 to 1998. Michael, you led K-State to a number of firsts during your career. First ever #1 ranking, first win over Nebraska in 30 years, and first berth in a conference championship game. What did that success mean to the program and to you?
The success to the program was great. You know, for a long time, Kansas State has always played a second hand to the University of Nebraska, and I was given an opportunity to come in and get a great education and play for a great university. I had some great teammates and great coaching staff. So if you put all those things together, you expect nothing but greatness. And we had an opportunity to be up there with some of the great teams across the nation. So it meant a lot to the university because the K-State fans, I think, are the best fans in America. They had an opportunity to see something special, and I was just glad to be a part of it as well.
Michael, what does this mean to be inducted into this College Hall of Fame class?
This is big time. I mean, if you look around, there's so much talent that's sitting on this stage. I can only imagine if we was all on the same team. But to go in the class of 2023 with everybody that's involved, that's on this stage, it is a huge accomplishment. When you're young and you're growing up, you think about just making the next play, winning a big game. But to be in the situation that we're all in right now, this is amazing. This is forever in history. This is a great moment, and I just want everybody to enjoy it and live in this moment because you can't take it away, and it's very special.
Thank you. Hall of Famer Michael Bishop. From 2003 to 2005, USC running back Reggie Bush was a consensus and unanimous first-team All-American. He was also the 2005 Walter Camp Player of the Year and Doak Walker Award winner. Reggie, you're one of the most dynamic players in history, and something special happened every time you touched the ball. No matter the opponent or the situation, at times it looked like you were just out there having fun. What was your mindset, and what was it like to play for the Trojans during that era?
My mindset was always to be different, and I think that's one of the reasons why I loved playing so many different positions, because I loved the opportunity to be able to showcase myself in many different roles, if that makes sense. And I felt like by doing that, I could create a ton of value for myself, to the point to where, I wanted coaches to have to utilize me in every situation. I never wanted to come off the football field. I always wanted to be the guy that was in there, leading the charge, whether it was through the way I played the game or just being out there helping my teammates. But yeah.
Reggie, we understand that it was your teammate and fellow Hall of Famer Matt Leinart who informed you of your induction back in January. Could you describe what that moment and what it meant to you?
It meant a lot because Matt's my brother, and we've shared a ton of memories, ton of games, hard-fought games that we had to overcome together. The blood, sweat, and tears that we built together on that football field, not just him, but me and my teammates as well. It's truly amazing. And actually about 30 plus of my former teammates showed up last night for me, and we had a great time. And so the opportunity to be here on this stage, though, I think with all these guys is the thing I'm most excited about. I shared a lot of battles with some of these guys. I played D'Angelo twice a year when he was with Carolina. Hated playing against him. I played against this guy right here, Dwight Freeney, in the Super Bowl, and also in the regular season where they beat the brakes off of us. Maybe one of the worst losses that I ever had. So, it's awesome to be able to be up here with all these guys. I've been a fan of a lot of these guys. Tebow, Brian McKinney. I wish I ran behind Brian McKinney. So, and I was actually telling Brian Westbrook, man, in New Orleans, we pretty much stole all of his plays for me. So, it's awesome that you guys are doing this. It's awesome that we're here because college football was a great stepping stone for all of us in our careers. It's a place where I learned where I became a man. And, so I'm honored to be here amongst these guys and, looking forward to tonight and being inducted.
Hall of Famer Reggie Bush.
Thank you.
A 2001 unanimous first-team All-American and Big East Co-Defensive Player of the Year, Syracuse defensive end Dwight Freeney terrorized opponents from 1998 to 2001. Dwight, you were not heavily recruited out of high school in Connecticut. What do you think the Syracuse coaches saw in you, and how did you know that Syracuse culture was the right fit for you?
Well, the thing is with Syracuse and where I grew up, I grew up in Bloomfield, Connecticut, so that was about 4 hours away, far enough to be away and feel like you're away, but close enough if you ever need anything, you can come back home and mom can take care of you. And so, I fell in love with that location, fell in love with the culture as well. They had a real blue-collar type of field there, and that's what I was used to in high school. They had Donovan McNabb, Donovan Darius, guys out there that played the game the way it was supposed to be played. So I was really excited to be there, and it meant the world to me to wear that orange, and they have a tremendous history there as well, how many great players have played that at that university.
You finished your career as the NCAA single-season leader with 17.5 sacks in 2001. Is there a single motivation or quality that you can attribute your success to getting to the quarterback?
Well, I think for me, I just played every play like it was my last. You never know when it's going to be over. And, us defensive linemen, we like to have a certain mentality. You had to come around that corner like something's wrong with you. All right, and you had to make that offensive tackle feel like there's something wrong with this kid. He won't stop. And that was my mentality. I wanted to go out and play as hard as I possibly could play and have fun doing it. And I was blessed to have some great coaches that allowed me to be able to do the things that I did.
Thank you. Hall of Famer Dwight Freeney. Iowa offensive tackle from 2000 to 2003. Robert Gallery was a 2003 consensus first-team All-American and winner of the Outland Trophy. Robert, you started your Iowa career as a tight end, only to finish as one of the most highly decorated offensive linemen in the country. Tell us how that transition happened, and do you ever regret changing positions?
Now, the transition for me, I knew coming out of high school, I wasn't a highly recruited guy. I did have some offers, but I was, in the book, all these guys had their position, and I was athlete. Is what they had me down as, because I was a 6'7", 210-pound senior in high school. So when I got to the University of Iowa, they told me, hey, you're gonna grow into what you're gonna be. And I started at tight end, full well knowing that I knew where I would end up. But I didn't, I didn't care. It was whatever they wanted me to do. It was my mentality. I just wanted to be great, and whatever they asked me to do. So I saw the change coming. I wasn't going to be a tight end. I knew that. I did have a few catches before they moved me to tackle, and then that's kind of when the journey began. But I'm obviously very thrilled with the way things turned out, and to get down on the line and the guys I had watched before me to have that mentality and play. That was more my style of play, to be down on the line and that mentality of how you worked in every single play.
Robert, briefly, you're from Iowa and been very vocal about how much playing for the Hawkeyes meant to you. What makes the school and your home state, such a special place for you?
For me, growing up in Iowa in a small town, a very small high school, I had 34 kids in my graduating class. I came from a very small, tight-knit community, and the University of Iowa was the pro team. There's no pro team in Iowa. That's what we watched every weekend. I was fortunate enough. One of my older brothers was a all Big Ten punter from 93 to 96, so I was around the program. I was that young kid hanging out in the dorms with those guys that I looked up to. And that's where I wanted to be, and just hoped, and anything they asked me to do or my brother told me to do that was going to make me better, I would do. So to be from Iowa, play for Iowa, and the people I went through there with, to be in the first year of Coach Ferentz, that we kind of started the turnaround of that program from some down years. And to me, it's I'm very, very proud to be from Iowa and to have played for the University of Iowa, and I'll always be a Hawkeye.
Hall of Famer Robert Gallery. We've got a special guest joining us. We'll get started here momentarily. A two-time first-team All-American who earned unanimous honors in 2010, no one could catch this duck. A Doak Walker Award-winning running back at Oregon from 2009 to 2011, LaMichael James. LaMichael, how does a kid from Texarkana, Texas, get to Eugene, Oregon, and what attracted to you Oregon?
If I had to be honest, I was being recruited by a couple of SEC schools, but a lot of them back then were Adidas, and I was real big on Nike. So I kind of chose, this is a true story. So I remember going to like Mississippi State and like Arkansas. I'm like, man, I can't look fly in no Adidas. So like, when you're 17, it's all about the swag. Then you go to University of Oregon and they got like, 20 uniforms and all these cleats, and I'm like, yeah, I can see myself here. But I didn't know it rained every day either.
LaMichael, in your last 2 years at Oregon, the Ducks went 24-3, played in the BCS National Championship, and won the Rose Bowl. What do you attribute the team's chemistry and success to during those 2 years?
Honestly, man, just everybody on the same page. You see a lot of teams with a lot of great athletes, And, you know, as long as you gel and you have the same camaraderie and you go out there and you work hard each and every day, I think you can overcome anything. You know, I look at some of the teams we used to go out there and play. I'm like, man, we're way smaller. We don't got the big names. We don't got the top receivers. We don't got the top linemen. But none of that mattered because we were just – no one cared about the superstars. There was no superstars. We're all one band, one sound.
Hall of Famer LaMichael James. From 2001 to 2004, Texas linebacker Derek Johnson was a consensus and unanimous first-team All-American and won the 2004 Butkus and Nagurski Awards. Derek, you made an immediate impact at Texas. In 2001, you earned Holiday Bowl defensive MVP honors in a game you didn't even start. How did your freshman season set the stage for the rest of your highly successful Longhorn career?
Here we go. It's a great question. Honestly, I've always been a player that tried to conquer the moment. I was never looking too far ahead. I wasn't that kid. Of course, I was the kid that wanted to go to the NFL and do some great things, but I never talked about it that much. I always try to conquer the moment. You know, sometimes you have junior high kiddos that say, man, I'm gonna break records. I'm gonna do this and this, and they're not the best person on their, seventh grade team. So it's one of those things where you got to conquer the moment. And when I went to University of Texas in 2001, being a freshman, a lot of people was telling me, oh man, you're gonna do this and that. I'm like, hey, let me get my feet wet. I wasn't even starting. I think I had the most tackles on the team throughout the whole year. But when I got my chance, I tried to make the best of it. And God has really blessed me by taking that humble approach. And then if you can, the Bible says we can trust you with the little things, the big things will come later on.
Derek, you played for Hall of Fame coach Mack Brown, and your teammate Vince Young is also an inductee. How does it feel to join both of them in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, man. You talk about just a rich tradition. Being at the University of Texas, Mack Brown was like a second father to me, especially to all the guys that came under him. And you need that going into college, being a young man trying to become or a boy, I should say, becoming a young man. And Mack Brown's a perfect example of just following the right things, not just on the field, but off the field too. That was a big deal with him. And when you talk about Vince Young, I mean, you can, it's invincible at the end of the day. One of the best. Sorry about that, Bush. I just talked to Reggie, but just saw that game the other day, man. I mean, you just think of Vince and what he's done and what he's accomplished, and be able to be up here and represent the University of Texas and have those names like that next to, man. It's a blessing. It really is a blessing.
Hall of Famer Derek Johnson. Montana State defensive tackle from 1971 to 1973, Bill Kolar was a 1973 first-team All-American and the 1972 Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year. Bill, you were the first defensive player in history to earn Senior Bowl MVP honors and the first lineman to be named a three-time first-team All-Big Sky performer. What did your success at Montana State and those distinctions mean to you?
Well, obviously, anything you get turns out to be a great opportunity and stuff, and to be able to come here and represent Montana State University, getting into the College Football Hall of Fame, is just a tremendous honor, and really appreciate everything, and especially getting a chance of playing the Senior Bowl that year and getting the MVP was unbelievable.
You spent your entire professional career in coaching, including 30 seasons with defensive linemen in the NFL. So we want to know, what was the hardest thing for you? The nonstop grind of an NFL season, moving from Ohio to Bozeman, Montana for college, or wrestling a bear for $50?
Well, nowadays, these guys here can't believe it, right? You wrestle a bear for $50, but back then things were a little bit different money-wise. So, I mean, it's a pretty good money. Nowadays guys won't walk across the street for $1,000, right? So I mean, it's obviously a totally different situation. When I was coming out of high school, I was 6'2", 190 pounds, And obviously now, guys in 8th grade are, bigger than that. So, but it's just, tremendous deal. But I would say probably coaching. I coached 34 years in the NFL, and the hours that we put in, over that time is a lot of hours and obviously a real grind. And I would say that's probably the toughest thing and the best decision I ever made when I decided to go to Montana State and, play for the Bobcats out there was, a tremendous decision by me.
Hall of Famer Bill Kolar. From 2009 to 2011, Boston College linebacker Luke Kuechly was a tackling machine. He was a consensus and unanimous first-team All-American and winner of the 2011 Butkus, Nagurski, and Lombardi Awards. Luke, until last season, you were the NCAA's all-time leader in tackles, posting 532 career stops in just 3 seasons at BC. Describe your intensity and how you maintain such a high level of production each week.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with the guys around me. I think we had a really good coaching staff at Boston College that were great teachers. And I got to BC, I didn't really understand how the game worked. I didn't know how to watch tape. I didn't know how to study. And when we got there, I had an older guy named Wes Davis. He was a safety from California, and he showed me how to be productive. He showed me how to watch tape, showed me why watching tape was important. He showed me why studying, positioning, alignment, your first step is so important. So I think a lot of it had to do with the guys that around me that were willing to teach me and willing to show me how to get things done. I had Wes in the back end, and then when I got to Boston College, we had 3 linebackers there that were all in different stages of their career. Mark Herzlich was coming off a phenomenal season. He played Sam linebacker. Mike McLaughlin was going to be a 5th-year senior. He was the Mike inside linebacker. And then Mike Morrissey was a walk-on. He played everything. He played Will, Sam, Mike. So I had 3 really veteran guys around me that said, hey, Luke, if you're playing Mike linebacker, go talk to Mike McLaughlin. If they slide you out to Sam, go talk to Mark Herzlich. If you play Will, go talk to Mike Morrissey. And then Bill McGovern was my linebacker coach. And we just had such great people around me. And then the mindset was something that I just loved. I think a lot of guys have talked about it up here. Eric Berry talked about it. Go get the ball, have fun, and play with relentless energy. And I think that's one thing that really helped me is I love the game of football, and I had a lot of really good teachers around me.
Luke, following your retirement from the NFL, you've spent a lot of time advocating for player safety and brain health awareness. Why is that important to you and the game?
I just think, the game of football is special. I think it's impacted us all in such a positive way. We're all here. We've all got great stories about the game of football and how much fun we had, the people that we met. Just look around this table right now, this room, people from north, south, east, west, all different backgrounds. And the game of football is special, and I think it deserves I just want people to be able to play the game as long as they want to and have a safe and productive and healthy life after the game. And I think that's something that the college football takes super important. The NFL definitely takes it super important. I think we're doing everything we can to make the game as safe and take care of the players as best we can. And I think that's just something that is super important to me. The game's been very good to me, and I want to make sure that guys have the ability while they're playing and after they're playing to have the resources they need. I know Troy does a great job with the NFL of making sure that's the case, but it's a special game. It impacts people in such a positive way, and I think we need to do everything we can to take care of the game, and I think that's a big thing for me. So,
thank you. Hall of Famer Luke Kuechly. A kick returner and wide receiver at Missouri from 2007 to 2008, Jeremy Maclin was the definition of a dual threat. He was a 2-time All-American as a return specialist and a finalist for the 2008 Biletnikoff Award. Jeremy, some have described those of you who return kicks and punts as crazy or madmen. Since you arguably had one of the most successful careers in history as a specialist, is there any truth to that, and what made you so dangerous?
I wouldn't say there's any truth to that. I think the big thing, man, was anytime I touched the ball, I was trying to score. Kind of like what Reg said, I wanted to be different, right? I wanted to be a guy that it didn't matter where you gave me the football. I wanted to have an opportunity to be able to make something special happen. That 2007 Missouri team was loaded. We had a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things, and I was just trying to add, my own little flavor to it. So I prefer punts over kickoffs, but I didn't mind doing either one.
You mentioned that 2007 Mizzou team. It was ranked #1 in the AP poll and finished the season 12-2. What was special about that team, and how does it feel to follow your coach, Gary Pinkel, into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think for starters, I think we had a lot of guys that were pretty talented. But you know, it goes way beyond that. You got to have a locker room that's close. You got to have a locker room that enjoys playing together. You got to have a group of guys that are selfless. And I think we had that on our team. And then, like you just said, man, GP assembled a great staff. You know, he's like a second father to me. You know, he's not only a great coach, but one of the better people I've ever come across in my life. And you know, they really made Mizzou, you know, feel like home.
Hall of Famer Jeremy Macklin. From 1985 to 1987 and 1989, New Mexico wide receiver Terrence Mathis was a consensus first-team All-American who finished his career as the NCAA's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards. Terrence, you managed to become the Lobos' first two-time All-American. What do you attribute your success to?
Well, when I was coming out of high school, I wasn't highly recruited at all. Matter of fact, I didn't sign my scholarship until June of '85. And I remember being recruited, and Eric, the University of Tennessee came, and the guy looked at me and says, "You way too small to play for Tennessee." And right then and there, I carried that on my sleeve. And I just wanted to prove to people that I could play. And I think that was a attribute that I had all my career, because if you even look at me next to Brian, look how small I am. And I said, all my life, I'm the smallest guy around. So it was one of those things that I just wanted to prove people wrong and show people that I can play. And I think most of it is just heart. It's heart.
Terrence, you set 24 school records by the end of your career, still holding Lobo marks for career receptions, receiving yards, and touchdown receptions. After more than 30 years, what does it mean to you to still have such a strong legacy at that institution?
Well, you know, when I went to college, I just wanted to be on the travel team and play special teams. And then all of a sudden, God had a different plan for me. You know, we prayed for going to college to play college football, and God said, that's not enough. I put you here for a reason. And the thing, look back now and look at the numbers that I've done, sometimes I get surprised, because you don't go there playing to set records or catch a lot of footballs and do those things. You go there to win football games and win championships. And then at the end of your career, when you look back, you want to say, did I do enough? Was it enough? And I can honestly say it was enough. I did enough. And I am truly blessed to be here. It's funny because people say, it's about time. It's been over 30 years since I played college football. It's about time. It's about time. And I said, no, it was God's time. It was his time. And I am so grateful and thankful and blessed to be here amongst this esteemed group. I watched a lot of them play. I was retired and they were still playing. And I'm going, wow, you know, Jeremy Macklin, Reggie Bush, all those guys, Tebow. I'm like, wow, because I'm a big college fan. And being here with these guys is just totally amazing. All my career in the NFL, I was a student of the game. I felt like a little boy, because it's a kid's game. And to get the chance to play with guys that you've watched, and it's just, and being up here with guys that you watch is just truly a blessing and truly amazing.
Hall of Famer Terrence Mathis. From 2000 to 2001, Miami offensive tackle Bryant McKinney dominated the line en route to being named a two-time first-team All-American and winner of the 2001 Outland Trophy. Bryant, after not allowing a single sack during your college career, you finished 8th for the 2001 Heisman Trophy. You were the last offensive lineman to finish in the top 10 of the Heisman. What did an individual recognition like that mean to someone who was part of such a successful offensive unit?
For me, that meant a lot to be recognized as an offensive lineman who really doesn't have any stats. So to find out I'm finishing the top 10 of Heisman voting and people use their vote on me, I mean, it meant a lot.
The 2001 Miami squad is considered one of the best teams in college football history, with 6 players, yourself included, taken as a first-round NFL draft pick. Describe the Miami swagger during that time period and what made the team so special beyond just the talent on the field.
The team, the year before, we lost to another school in Florida, and that kept us out of a national championship. So that senior year, it was about controlling your own destiny and going out there and not allowing anybody to be a decision maker for you. So the team bonded on and off the field, and that allowed us to all come together with a common goal, and that was to win the national championship. So and it also formed a brotherhood. So that's what being a Miami Hurricane is all about, is a brotherhood and family.
Hall of Famer Bryant McKinney. The most decorated player in Virginia Tech history from 1997 to 1999, defensive lineman Corey Moore was a two-time first-team All-American and the first player in history to win the Lombardi and Nagurski Awards in the same season. Corey, you're considered by many as the best defensive player in Virginia Tech history. How does it feel to earn that distinction and represent an institution known for those renowned lunch pail defenses?
Well, first of all, the great Bruce Smith is the best defensive player in Virginia Tech history. So, but it is a compliment. I have the utmost respect for Bruce Smith and his career and what he's done, and even more so as a person. But you know, during my time at Virginia Tech, having the opportunity to play for Bud Foster and Coach Beamer, we were kind of a program that felt like we had to pull ourselves up from the bootstraps, and our mantra was, you know, we'll play anybody, anytime, any place. And we loved playing on Thursday nights, and it was a fun time. We felt like we were a program on the rise, and you know, just to be a part of that meant a lot. It's never been about me. It's about the guys that I play with, and it's, you know, to me, this induction to the Hall of Fame represents, you know, my time at Tech, and particularly, you know, the Coach Beamer era. So,
Corey, you led Virginia Tech to the school's first national championship game. Tell us about that 1999 season and why you think the team was so successful.
You know, we had, you know, come close the year before, lost a couple games we felt we should have won, but we had a secret weapon that not many people knew about that was brewing on the horizon. You know, just so happened to redshirt that year. So coming into the '99 season, we knew we had a very, very talented team. You know, we had some pieces that we were still kind of unsure about, but one of them ended up being a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy, and Mike Vick. And so he, when he popped on the scene, it really boosted our confidence. We knew what we had coming back on defense. We had 9 of our starters from the previous year coming back that year, so we were, you know, felt pretty confident. And then you sprinkle in Vic on the offensive side of the ball, making us a very dynamic team. And so we were confident coming into the '99 season, and, you know, fortunate to have our opportunity to play for the national championship, even though we came up a little short.
Hall of Famer Corey Moore. From 1986, 1988, and 1990, Notre Dame linebacker Michael Stonebreaker earned consensus and unanimous first-team All-America honors while leading the Irish to a national championship. Michael, you had game-deciding interceptions versus Michigan and Michigan State and sealed a victory against Miami with a fourth-quarter fumble recovery. Why do you think you had such a knack for making big plays in the biggest moments?
Well, you know, when you're playing linebacker and you're reading the offense, my goal was to negate anything that the offense was trying to do. That meant reacting faster than the offensive guards or offensive tackles are reacting. Spying the quarterback, seeing the ball, seeing the running backs, what they're trying to accomplish, and smashing them in the mouth and not letting them gain 1 yard. And so that's your mindset on a consistent basis. So you're always running to the ball. You're always giving 100% on every single play. I see some kids nowadays, they make a tackle and they get up and they celebrate and everybody's having a good time. Well, we've got 3 more quarters to play. So, you know, let's make about 15 or 18 more tackles, and then you can celebrate after the game with your teammates. And so it's just that mindset of pursuing the ball as quickly as you can.
Notre Dame recently celebrated the 35-year anniversary of the 1988 National Championship team in conjunction with your NFF on-campus salute. Will you tell us about that night and what it meant to be surrounded by so many former teammates?
It's great. It's always good, you know, when you have guys that you've sacrificed with for the common goal. You've developed that trust in each other, that love, and you know, to see guys 35 years later, you know, it's good because everything always immediately comes back. But being that it's been 32, 35 years, we haven't really had a lot of opportunity to talk smack with other universities, because you would have liked to have seen Notre Dame get a couple championships during that time.
Hall of Famer Michael Stonebreaker. The first sophomore in history to win the Heisman Trophy, Florida quarterback Tim Tebow's career from 2006 to 2009 was that of legend. The consensus All-American took home the NFF Campbell Trophy, the Davey O'Brien, and was twice named Maxwell Player of the Year. Tim, you were known for your leadership as much as you were known for your jump passes, and the promise speech following a loss to Ole Miss was that of legend. Take us through that moment, and did you ever think it would become such a big part of college football lore?
You know, I don't even think they got the title right. They call it the promise. I think a better title would be the apology, because my parents taught me, who are in the back, who are two of my greatest heroes, that when you do something that you believe is wrong, the first thing that you should do is apologize. And so I wanted to apologize to my team, coaches, and to all of Gator Nation. So it was more about an apology, but also when you make an apology, there's certain things that should go with it. One is how it's going to be different. What did you learn from it? And so the promise came after the apology of saying, I'm sorry, but then how it's going to be different. And it's funny, a lot of people always say, like, I'll promise you're going to win the national championship. No, I didn't. We can't control that. I just tried to promise something I believe that we could control, and that was our attitude, our effort, and our focus, because that is something in our control. And but that turnaround wasn't even that much about me. That was about all the leaders on our team. That was Percy and Spikes and Coop and so many incredible players. And the next day we got all the players together and we went and had a practice. And that was a hard one. That was a very violent practice, going back and forth with. But you know what? I remember standing beside Brandon Spikes at the end of it, and we broke it down as a team. And we really believed that day, if we played like we did in that practice, that we would probably be national champions. And so I think that it was humbling, not because of any words that I said, but because it was a team that rallied together, that didn't want to have that feeling again.
Tim, of all your honors that you received in college, where does being a member of the College Football Hall of Fame rank?
I mean, it's definitely one of the most special, because it's not just about me. I know that that for each of us, we're humbled and honored to be selected into the Hall of Fame, but it's also because it represents more than just us. It represents our team, it represents our brothers, it represents father figures in our coaches, it represents the colors that we were so blessed to wear, it represents the moments, the memories, so much more. And you know, I'm just so humbled to be a part of it, humbled to be a part of it with all of these amazing players, players that I got to watch, emulate, look up to. I got to be on an official visit to USC, and Reggie ran and dove in the end zone. And I was like, that's the craziest play I've ever seen. And you know, I got to play against Eric, you know, who's one of the best players. And I still feel like Derek is chasing me for all our times with the Broncos versus the Chiefs. And just so many amazing players. And it's not just about going in, it's about what you represent. And I also say the honor of these amazing players that I get to go in with, so many incredible players. And so it's just truly, truly an honor and also humbling as well.
Hall of Famer Tim Tebow. From 1988 to 1991, Wisconsin defensive back Troy Vincent earned 1991 first-team All-America honors, and was Big Ten Co-Defensive Player of the Year. Troy, the Badgers had more wins in your senior season than your first 3 years combined. Tell us about that transitional period under future Hall of Fame coach Barry Alvarez, and what was it like to become his first ever All-American player?
Well, thanks for reminding me. It was, as I mentioned, oftentimes I was 1-9. 1-10, 2-9, 1-10, and 5-6. And I talk about the Wisconsin experience all the time. Wisconsin took me from being a boy to a young man and learning how to win. And when Coach Alvarez came in my sophomore year, we didn't know who we were. You're embarrassed to walk around the campus in your colors, but learning how to win, being a team player, being reliable, being trustworthy, not getting outside of your identity. So that my time and my experience in particular is first 2 seasons and really 3, we were a bad football program. But there was a lot of good. Steve started off this morning as he introduced the class about the game and what the game has done for us. And I would just say the game has done more for me than I can ever do for it. And that Wisconsin experience, that time on campus, was a living testimony of taking a young boy, and maturing into a young man.
You talked a little bit about this already, but you've gone on to a successful career working in the NFL front office. What did you learn on the field that helped develop your leadership skills in the business side of the game?
So it goes back to that Wisconsin experience. Today I represent not only the University of Wisconsin, but the Big Ten, myself and Robert here today for this wonderful class. What I learned at Wisconsin were transferable skills. Being a team player, a great listener, very coachable, dependable. All of those things have allowed me to transition. Now my 14th season with the National Football League as an executive, as someone that's still a contributor to the game. Being able to protect the game that we all love, to grow the game that we all love, but all of those things were instilled and developed while on campus in Madison.
Thank you. Hall of Famer Troy Vincent. A 3-time first-team All-American at Villanova from 1997 to 1998 and 2000-2001. Running back Brian Westbrook won the Walter Payton Award and became the only player in history to rush for 1,000 yards and receive for 1,000 yards in the same season. Brian, you redefined what a running back could do on the field, finishing your career with a still-standing NCAA all-divisions record for all-purpose yards. Coming into Villanova, was it always the plan for you to play so many roles on the team?
Coming into Villanova, it certainly was not the plan. The plan was to really just develop as a player, continue to get better every single year, be able to help the team win games. And over the course of my time there, that took a lot of different roles, whether it was catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball, special teams. And so just the time there was so special because I had an opportunity to learn so many different things: how to read defenses from the receiver position, how to catch punts, how to return kickoffs, things like that, as well as run the football. And so we had so many quality young men and coaches at Villanova during my time there. It was just a great learning experience. And truly, you don't go to Villanova to just play football. You go to Villanova because you want to, get a great education. You go to Villanova because you want to find a job. You want to be a part of this Nova network after school, so you have an opportunity to get a job. And so for me, being able to play at that level and play that well was a surprise, but it was also something that I worked really, really hard to do, and I was blessed to be able to do it.
How does it feel to represent Villanova as its first ever Hall of Fame player?
It's a great honor. Played with a lot of great men, was coached by a great man, Andy Talley, who was inducted to the College Football Hall of Fame a couple years ago. And so anytime that you could just be around great people and you can learn from them, it's just one of the best moments in your life. And so representing Villanova, who is truly known as a basketball school, but being able to be up here, like Troy mentioned, with some of the best players that have played our game, and put Villanova's name on the map, it was certainly special for me.
Hall of Famer Brian Westbrook. Memphis running back D'Angelo Williams was a first-team All-American and three-time Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. D'Angelo, you hold the FBS record with 34 100-yard games, and you set virtually every rushing record in Memphis and Conference USA history. Now you're the first player to be inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame from your school. What does that distinction mean to you and the Memphis community?
Well, it means a lot. Going to the University of Memphis, very similar to Villanova, it was a basketball school. And, going there and not having the rich bowl tradition that some of the other schools had, for me, even being up here and seeing the numbers that I saw is just like I'm still at awe right now. I mean, there's a lot of people that are up here on the stage that have been talking that are, it's kind of expected. Like you see Reggie Bush and you're like, yeah, he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. You see Tim Tebow, you're like, yeah, he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. Like you see those guys and, they're very humble guys, but you see guys that are up here on the stage where you just like, well, why did it take so long? And I'm up here, I'm like, where do I fit in? It's been a lot of battles with Reggie because, as a running back coming up in the Reggie Bush era, it was just Reggie Bush. So, standing up here representing the University of Memphis from a football standpoint is it's amazing, and we really appreciate the nod.
D'Angelo, on top of the individual accolades, you were part of an incredible turnaround for Memphis, going to a bowl game. Talk about that period in Tiger history and what it was like to play such an important role in the transition of the program.
Well, it wasn't Troy Vincent, where we were 1-9 and like 2-3 and like, yeah, we 5-6 on that last. Yeah, we went to no offense, Troy. I'm still upset about you finding me in the National Football League. But some things you don't let go. But we went 3-9 my freshman year, and we went 9-3 the year after, and we went to a New Orleans Bowl and some other bowl games, and it was special because we had a 32-year bowl drought, and nobody was expecting anything out of us. And then the unexpected happened. We started winning football games. And as a result of us winning football games, you got to pin those wins on somebody, and I kind of got that. So I'm just thankful for being here and being able to stand up here. And there's a lot of feuds that we had in college with some guys up here that I'm still trying to let go. I really am. There's a couple things that I want to say to Reggie. There's some things that I want to say to to LaMichael and Westbrook. Just to give you the college landscape. Growing up, I watched Ron Dane, I watched Eddie George, I watched Ricky Williams, so they were all big backs. So hearing what Brian Westbrook did, like those smaller backs, we wasn't sought after. So for us to step up and do the things that we done at like 5'9" or 5'10", like literally every time I met somebody, it was like, man, you a little guy. And I'm like, well, damn, I didn't know that mattered. But just, it's special with looking at the talent that you got up here because, I mean, you look at Daryl Johnston and you look at Brian McKinney, these guys are massive guys. And then you look at me and LaMichael and Brian and you're like, well, was y'all same time period? Like, you kind of have some questions, but it's all about what you have in your heart and how you attack the game. And just before I finish, I want to say, like Luke Kuechly, when he was talking about watching film, playing with him in Carolina, him getting in there before everybody got there to watch film, and then when he leave and, we would have practice and he would literally call out every play before we did it. And I'm like, he got the script. There's no way he'd know what's going on. So we would have to put in a period to where like it was unscripted, and I still was like, man, there's no way. There's no way. So how we attacked the game in those days was completely different, in my opinion, than how we attack it now, because you have a guy that do those numbers for you, so you don't have to do those numbers. So this is special. I mean, I can go on and on, but thank you.
Thank you. Hall of Famer D'Angelo Williams. Monty Cater coached at Lakeland, Wisconsin from 1981 to 1986, and then at Shepherd in West Virginia from 1987 to 2017. He boasts a 275 wins in his career, winning 70% of his games in 37 seasons as a head coach. Coach, when you retired, you were the nation's most active, winningest coach among all levels. What was the secret to maintaining such consistent success throughout almost 4 decades as a head coach?
I don't think there's any coaches that are up here or that have been fortunate enough and honored enough to be in the Hall of Fame that wouldn't say that it's the people that are around you. I had great coaches that I was able to hire or when I was an assistant coach, but I think that idea of having guys that stay with you 16, 17, 18 years, that's very, very special. But I think you learn some things. You got to learn it in this profession. There's things that you have to pay attention to because you don't start out being the defensive coordinator at the University of Texas. So you learn things, you try to build on that. You learn things that you don't want to do as well as things you think to build into your relationship, both with your coaches and players. But I don't know of anyone that was more fortunate than I was to go ahead and have the people around me that I learned from, even as a head coach, to be able to learn those types of things and be able to put them in some type of situation or plan to go ahead and be successful. But I was very, very fortunate, and I'm very honored and humbled to be here.
Coach, you led Shepherd's transition from NAIA to Division II. How difficult was that process, and why was the move important to the Rams program?
Yeah, I think we were growing into that, and in our conference at that point in time, I think there was a lot of interest in moving up to the NCAA and being a part of that. Hadn't been on committees, both with the NCAA and the NAIA. It seemed like this was going to be a transition at our level of college football, which of course ended up being Division II, was going to be a step that we needed to go ahead and take. And I was actually the athletic director at the same time, and you talk about trying to wear 2 of those hats while you're trying to coach. But it was the right transition for us and for Shepherd at the time, and it's been a successful one. So we're pleased that we were able to do that.
Hall of Famer Coach Monty Cater. Next is Paul Johnson, who coached at Georgia Southern from 1997 to 2001, at Navy from 2002 to 2007, and then Georgia Tech from 2008 to 2018. He won 189 games and won 66% of his games in more than 20 years as a head coach. Coach Johnson, during your career, there are some critics that deemed your offense as outdated, even though you won a national championship at Georgia Southern, went 11-1 against the other service academies at Navy, and took Georgia Tech to 2 Orange Bowls. Why do you think your offense was so polarizing when there was such a proven track record of success?
Well, I guess thanks for that question. I haven't ever had that one before. No, I think that because it was different, and quite honestly, I think it was because a lot of people didn't like playing against it. I can attest to that. But we were very blessed. I had the opportunity, as Monty was saying, to be around some outstanding people and the opportunity to coach a lot of great players. And I think the one thing that made us successful, if we were offensively, is that our players bought into the system and they believed in it. And people ask me along the way a lot of times, why didn't you change, or why did you do something, or why didn't you do something different? And the answer was that we were having a lot of success and we really didn't need to change. And I understood that offense a little bit and knew how to tweak it and knew how to fix it. And that's why we ran it. And, hopefully that the guys who played in it continue to believe in it, and that made us successful.
Your 2007 Navy team was the first midshipman squad to beat Notre Dame in 43 years. Tell us about that game, and why was the victory so important to the Navy program?
Well, I think the Navy-Notre Dame game was always special, at least for the Naval Academy, because they had continued to schedule Navy every year, even though the game had become some years where it wasn't very competitive. And just to have a chance to go into South Bend and play, we joked before the game that Notre Dame had 38 parade All-Americans, and we had 80 guys that had marched in a parade. So it was, just an opportunity for our guys to go in and match up, and to win the game in double overtime in the fashion that we did was great. And then after that game, the Naval Academy managed to beat Notre Dame a few more times.
Thank you. Hall of Fame coach, Paul Johnson. Roy Kramer coached at Central Michigan from 1967 to 1977. In just 11 seasons, he compiled an 83-32-2 record, winning 72% of his games. Coach Kramer, after coaching high school football for more than a decade, Central Michigan was your first and only stint as a collegiate head coach. You never had a losing season and won a Division II national championship in 1974. How did you establish success so quickly at Central Michigan, and what was your favorite part about coaching in the college ranks?
I don't know what was my favorite, and I'm not sure how many of you will recall what any of us say up here today. But I do know this. You just listened to one of the greatest testimonies to the game of football you'll ever hear from these great men who played the game and who know it better than anybody else. The best, the greatest experience a young man can have in a lifetime is demonstrated by the people you heard here today. And don't ever forget that. What I say is not very important anyway.
Obviously, you're most well known for being an SEC commissioner and the father of the BCS. How does your time as a head coach help you become a more effective athletics administrator?
Well, it was a composite of all of that. But I will truly say the most enjoyable part of my life was coaching high school football. For when you're coaching in high school, you don't recruit somebody. You're just a victim of how the genes were running 17 years ago. And if you don't have an offensive center, you look over there and say, Henry, you're my center. And it's my job to teach that young man how to play the game. And of all of the interest and of all of the time, I don't think that part of the game ever leaves you. The experience, as you've heard here, of these coaches is being able to look around and work with those young men every afternoon on the practice field. And for once and now and then, have them call you coach is one of the greatest rewards of this profession.
Hall of Fame coach, Roy Kramer. Mark Richt coached at Georgia from 2001 to 2015, and then at Miami from 2016 to 2018. He posted a 73% winning percentage and an overall record of 171 and 64 in nearly 20 years as a head coach. Coach, the Bulldogs won a conference title in just your second year at the helm, marking Georgia's first conference title since 1982. How did that win set the stage for your era of success at UGA, which included 5 SEC championship game berths and 15 consecutive bowl appearances?
Well, first of all, when I got to Georgia, the cupboard wasn't bare. Coach Jim Donnan did a great job of recruiting athletes there at Georgia. So I want to give him some credit for that because you got to have the players to get it done. But, I think it was a culmination of all the people in my life that helped me. And I want to recognize some mentors in my life. Number one, my father, who taught me about the pursuit of integrity and how important that was. And then my high school coach, Roger Coffey, who really helped me learn how to really truly love the game of football. And then Coach Schnellenberger at Miami, my college coach, I learned more football from him in the time I was there than I did my entire life. Just so thankful for his leadership. Then on to my first coach who I coached under was Coach Bobby Bowden. And the fact that he taught me a different way of motivating. You know, some people motivate through fear and intimidation, and he motivated through love and compassion. And everybody loved him for that reason, and I love him for teaching me that and also leading me to Christ in 1986, the greatest decision I ever made. And then moving on to Georgia to be under the tutelage of the great Vince Dooley at Georgia. So it was an amazing run for me to be under that type of leadership. And it was the things that I learned from them that we, attributed to our success at Georgia. I mean, when I left Florida State and went to Georgia, a lot of times when people are a first-time head coach, they draw from all their experiences at all the different places they were at. Well, I was at one place. I was at Florida State for 15 years, so we just did it the Bobby Bowden way, quite frankly, when I first started out at Georgia. And it was a proven formula, and the guys reluctantly bought in the beginning, and thankfully we had some great success early on, so they felt like all the hard work was worth it.
Coach, you're a four-year letterman at Miami during your college career. What did it mean to you to get hired at your alma mater and lead the Canes to their first division title since joining the ACC?
It was a great honor. I mean, I took the job at Miami not so much because it was my school, but because I thought they could win. I knew they could win. I knew Miami had already proven they could win. And so coaching's hard enough as it is. When you're winning, then you don't want to go to a place you got no chance. So when I took the job at Miami, it was all about an opportunity to win at the highest level when I signed the contract. But it didn't take but about 24 hours to get back on campus to really feel the responsibility of knowing that it is my school, it is my university, it is my alma mater, and I want to do the very best I can for them. But to close here, I do want to say this, just like you mentioned, Coach Kramer, listening to the testimony by these gentlemen and how much college football meant to them. I think football is the greatest team sport ever invented. We were even talking about different sizes of players and different skill sets of players. It's amazing the diversity of talent that everybody has to do their job to have success. And you got these big offensive linemen, these skilled running backs, and all that. And then a lot of times at the end of the game, you got about a 125-pound kicker that's going to decide who wins and loses. And everybody's got to count on him. But I just love the game. I loved coaching at the college level because we did have a chance to help guys go from the boyhood stage to the manhood stage to be prepared to be good husbands and fathers and citizens of our community. And the last thing I'll say is the reason why I stayed at the collegiate level was when you go through that recruiting process and you go into some of these homes, and some of the homes were fatherless homes, quite frankly, and a lot of moms would come to me and just say, Coach, I could teach my son a lot of things, but I can't teach him how to be a man. Would you do that for me? And I took that charge very seriously.
Hall of Fame coach Mark Richt.